very precise. I've always had passion for law. That's probably the second degree as soon as I've done school university here. So I actually came here to come and expand my knowledge.
Okay, so my name is Geraldine, and like he introduced me, I'm his colleague, and I happen to be a business developer, and as so many other things, but I'll stick to business developing. So I'm here from Capitis Global, which is in alliance with ESAM. Is my colleague, like he explained to me, that in the same sense. And I'm here to talk to you about Enugu Jobs. Okay, so Enugu Jobs is a subsidiary of Capitis Global. It's the main mother company. But you know, when you want to talk about a particular part of it, you just focus on that part, right? So I'm not really going to talk about Capitis Global. I'm going to talk about Enugu Jobs. So maybe along the line, I could chip in one or two about Capitis Global. Enugu Jobs intermediates between employers and employees. I heard someone say that lawyers don't need a job, they are self-employed. I think it was okay that said that lawyers are self-employed. But there is something else about being self-employed. Well, if you are an employer of labor, you definitely employ, you definitely pay people. And I believe that everyone here wants one or two things that are going to give them money. Me, I want 3 minimum. I'll be giving you money. So that before I go broke, I can reach 1. So Enugu Jobs kind of liaises with Enugu SME to provide these things. One part of Enugu Jobs that is extremely beneficial is the employability skills aspect of it. So Enugu Jobs also liaises with Capitis, which is the mother company, to do human capital development training, where these soft skills are being dished out. So there's a popular saying, or let me just say, my boss always says, it's a popular saying, but I hear it from my boss almost all the time. He says that hard skills, that is knowing the technicalities of something, is going to get you a job. But soft skills keeps you in the job. I'm saying this is, the employability skills helps me a lot. That's what I'm saying. I'm actually saying it too. More like when you want to tell someone, you could tell someone from my own personal experience. It helped me. I went there, and what I did was to learn on the job, right? I didn't have experience. I learned on the job. But then I had this in mind from one of the employability skill training that I had to don't consider the money first. So I had it in mind not to consider the money first. I knew I was going to start earning better. So I stopped considering the money. I stopped. That person that has been roaming on the street, that person that has been, Russell, trying to kill. You could just tell the person, to tell another person, to tell another person, and to tell everybody. It's as easy as that. So like I said, you could check the social media handles. If you don't understand anything I said, you could go to the website. You could go to the website at www.enugu-jobs.com. The site is updated with the latest information. And there are jobs that are uploaded on the site. Someone can easily apply.
My name is Ikechukwu Onuoma. I'm a legal practitioner. I work in Obra Legal. Some of you already know me. I have many factors that have militated against coming to this function today. In fact, I'm not supposed to be here. However, I had a meeting yesterday. I was recently appointed to the National Committee for Mentoring and Internship. So we had our first inaugural meeting yesterday, and in that inaugural meeting, the first stress was on mentorship and the need for not just mentorship, but for institutional mentorship. And that mentorship is such that can only be achieved with sessions like this because in that committee we realized that it is impossible to have a one-on-one mentorship with everyone. There is no way you can have a one-on-one mentorship with everyone. And the first thing they realized that we can do to solve that problem is to have sessions like this, where we can learn from each other, where especially I can learn from you, and again to have webinars, taking advantage of the digital means of communication. So after having that meeting yesterday, I decided that I think I'll have to be here today. And being here, I'm very happy because I can see that you're going to teach me a lot. And the Enugu State government, the governor of Enugu State, and then also Irene Sechelopia, who is a special advisor to the governor on this small and medium scale enterprise, for putting together this function. These events don't just through themselves. It takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of energy, and of course it's purpose driven. And it is for that purpose that we are here today. But I'd like us to look at this. I've put a price tag to this, by the way, and I'd like us to work on it. Perhaps not here, but after this function, and we have the director here, Irene Sechelopia, and of course the other people coordinating or anchoring the event. Look at it carefully, and we'll want to submit a prototype, a framework after this, so that in that way we can see if together we can work on a skill-changing ecosystem for both, especially our university and our professional life. If we get the best, I've told Maria Sechelopia that I'm going to put the price of 100,000 to the best prototype that we get for it. Why I think it's important is that I don't just want us to listen to a beautiful speech without impacting. Is to design a university-based innovation and co-creation hub to train and empower the university ecosystem with relevant skills to become problem solvers, change agents and drivers of social business. The next slide, please. So this will be the objective of the project. The objective of the project is to align it with the university curriculum, which we can share with universities eventually, to identify the resources available for that project, to establish a university co-creation hub, and to foster the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship within universities. So this, in essence, is what I would like us to come up with. If we can get it by the 30th of October, so we have a month after this to submit it. Now, in order to begin, I'm going to start with a story. How many of you know Kodak? Kodak Pictures, Kodak Camera. Okay. Now, how many of you know that Kodak is no longer in existence? In fact, I googled Kodak and it showed me vintage camera. You know what vintage is? Yes. It's like they're in extinction. But how many of you know why Kodak went into extinction? A lot of immigration jobs about 2 weeks ago. The president gave about, I think, maybe 30 or 40 people citizenships. You saw the news beat? Yeah. So, well, what are they looking for? We are living, me, I'm planning to Java. I'm not living in this country. So, these people that are looking for the citizenship of Nigeria, and they are all, one of them is a Spaniard. His name is Professor Albert Alos. I mean, if you give Victor this thing of Spain now, you will see him here again. But he's a Spaniard, some are Lebanese. But what are they looking for in Nigeria? What are they looking for Nigerian citizenship?
For you to meet your country and look for the citizenship of Nigeria, you should probably be on the run. You must have committed a crime in your country.
So find a way and tell you that his father has been growing palm wine for 35 years, that his grandfather grew palm wine till he died, and that he is a palm wine lover. No, he will buy keke and drive. Keke is better. Those people have had one skill set trade for 5 generations. 5 generations. One, the same thing. If you go, what does he do? Hallelujah. If you go, what does he do? Pasta. You ask him, what does he do? Meatball. You think that his great grandmother was doing meatball, his grandmother did meatball, his mother did meatball, and she's still doing meatball. It has been passed down from generation to generation. But here, it cannot happen. So there is need to take time to grow in a particular skill set. And the reason why some of these crazy deals come about is that in our firm, the founder of that firm is about 53 years a lawyer. Of course, retired but not tired. The second person is about 44 years. I have worked there for 18 years. In fact, I'm just beginning. If you have generations of people in the same firm, you can never get it better anywhere. Never. And that is why also in the west of Nigeria, they know how to run businesses. Somebody was telling me that he was in Ibadan. I spent half of my Christmas in Ibadan, if I'm in the country. There is no better place to do business in the West. In each of those small supermarkets or kiosks here, they are computerized. They are all computerized. You pay here, you bring up the status and ask them how much. You tell that it's 300 and you give one. All the businesses, kiosks, small businesses are computerized. The meeting we were having yesterday also proved to me the reason why that exposure is a lot in the West. The person who is the chairman of the committee, that committee that I was telling you about internship and mentorship, is George Edomi, the co-alternate chair. George Edomi is a senior friend of Nigeria. Don't worry, if you are not a lawyer, don't worry, he's a human person. Then another person, his name is Kemi Pinheiro, who's also a senior friend of Nigeria. And you have Chuki Guazon, who is a partner, but in a firm in the West. And then you have a couple of other young fellows in that committee. But they kept on talking about businesses across the globe. Businesses across the globe. Not businesses in Nigeria, but businesses across the globe. That it would be better if we partner with the South African firms. It would be better if we can collaborate with the Canadian firms and deliver a project for Hong Kong. It would be better if we can partner with a firm in Nairobi and deliver this job. And I'm wondering, what's wrong with these people? Let us exhaust ourselves here. But they realized that the transboundary practice is very, very key. And like I'm saying, that is exactly what had happened to us in our firm. That these businesses are being done here in Enugu. Immigration service is what anybody can render. The only thing is that you have to put yourself out in a place where you are in contact with foreigners, and there are many of them here. If you know Sahara, some of you that go or hang out, it's a place near Brown and Brown. It's a very small place. Many of you know more the suya joint around that Sahara where they do chicken suya. Somebody is laughing at that. Yeah, I bought chicken suya there yesterday. But it's a small business, Sahara. I don't know how many meters it really, but very, very small. However, it's a Lebanese that means Nigerian citizen. There are many contractors who are also not from here that today want Nigerian citizenship. And like someone was saying, there are rights and entitlements that come with being a Nigerian. But again, also, they are smart because you can imagine a Lebanese leaving this country and coming not to Lagos, to Abuja, but to Enugu. If you go to Sahara, there's no need to go there much. There are some things that we want that they don't have. However, if you can experiment and go there, you realize that it's a set business. That place has been open. This year is the 14th year. You know that's not the place. So, in that place, this woman has been growing this business for 14 years. She has helped two startups that I know. I'm sure that there are some that I don't know, to start their own business. And like I said, we also need immigration services. For each of these services, you can charge as much as $5,000. It's not much, but at least you can have a proper office. It's a way to go. Have some other colleagues that you're working with. But you can charge as much as $5,000 for helping someone process his immigration and Nigerian passport. This is the International Criminal Court. And it's also an opportunity. unfortunately, we do a lot of crazy deals with these people, especially in terms of transactions. It's mostly from Spain and Italy. And the key thing is that in order to admit you to the International Criminal Court, it's not for lawyers. Like I said, what we're talking about courts across everybody. To admit you to that place to work as an administrative staff, as a lawyer, as anything, they have a list of categories. You can check out their site. Once you type the International Criminal Court, the site comes out. You will have to have a valid passport to Europe for at least a year. That's a difficult part. However, from your law firm or from your workplaces, those of you that are working, you can apply. When you're going to come over, you don't need to come over and spend your life there. You can go there and spend 3 months to help, because they have panels that sit, month by month, quarter by quarter, and they're not asking you for anything other than to have success skills. Sometimes, like I said, well, English is a major advantage, it's a goal at any time. Now, if you have additional skills like Italian, Spanish, it's an advantage, but those can also come after. You just apply, and many of the things we do precisely come from this connection. And the next one that we saw is the biggest market after oil, which is the buying and selling of players. Indeed, this starts here. You know that we have a club here. I know that we don't know that we have a club, but we have a club here. Rangers is here. Who is their lawyer? Well, we are checking 2-bedroom apartments and selling and giving property. People are making a lot of money off buying and selling players. And that means that we're going to invest a lot in startups. People who have perhaps just started playing, and they will not even have money to pay us. And again, this Fundación Madrid has a regional, it's also online, and we've done a lot of things with them, but mostly training. In 2019, they had a course which was fully paid for, 18 or 19, I cannot remember, which I attended. It was in Madrid. But that is a course on mediation, because there's a lot of problems sometimes among club or even within club in person. They have disputes that arise among player and coaches. So there's a lot of problems that arise from time to time. And these problems also need to be solved either by going to court or sometimes by alternative means of solving that dispute. And that is why we took the training in it, knowing that it has not yet fully come to Nigeria. But like I said, always, the most important thing is skill acquisition. Once you have set skills, many of those things will come. Skill set in oil and gas is a specialized field because you don't need to go and do masters. Let me not say about masters, but what you need to do is also to acquire that skill. I'm going to ask a couple of questions once this ends, and you will realize how some of the knowledge can come. But we've had all our meetings, and we've worked on Slack. How many of you have worked on Slack and know that, okay, so all our meetings are on Slack, and when we did our meeting, usually it's on Google Meet. In fact, we proposed that we use Zoom. I remember when we were starting, and they said it's not safe. It's not safe for them because someone is in Port Harcourt, then the other one is in Amsterdam, and the other one in Switzerland, and then the lawyers we are here. They have lawyers in Lagos too. I think also in Port Harcourt, I can't remember, but I'm sure of Lagos. But we had all our meetings there. And many times these recommendations also come from law firms who you've worked with. And you will not believe it, in some cases, who you have worked on the opposing sides, and they have seen your strength. And they realize that the person is to bring you to their team rather than you suing them or being the lawyer on the side. So we've represented them, and in those cases, they also pay a lot of money. But keep in mind that the money is not the only thing. When you are applying to an international agency or you even are going to travel and they realize that you work for some of these firms, it's a lot on your CV too. It's a lot. They realize that you are stable. For Europe, usually when you are traveling and it's not for studies, and you are going to anywhere in Europe, and you tell them that you are going for 3 days, they are not like UK or US. If you tell them that you are going for a 3-day conference, they will give you 3 days. That's how they function in Europe. They believe that you should be working in your country. The question I would like to ask is, from here, what are the information, the newsletters, and the articles that you read on your phone. I mean, usually we are with our phone, we read our phone here. What are our sources of information? Apart from playing video game and watching Emmanuel and doing Jordan, what do you do with your time? Where do you get what is the source of your information? About developing skills, right? And many people will say, okay, I know the difficulty. The difficulty is that many people will probably look at all that we have said today, and they will think, this boy is prepared for this job. I'm not prepared. He's prepared for this type of, hot, crazy transactions. But I'm not prepared for it. And the question I'm asking is, from what are the articles and information that you read on your phone? There are dead times when you are in the keke, bus, in your car, I mentioned most places with my colleagues in the office, so you can imagine that all our time is counted. And the question is, what do you do with that time?
I own free time, leisure. I tend to find out about people's personalities. Primarily my personality and how I can relate to people's personalities. Because if I don't know myself, I wouldn't be able to relate better, right? So sometimes you're not all the different one color card. You tend to wear different colors of cards to be able to relate with people in interviews and in the basis of this.
It's really based on motivation, like real life stories.
Question and answer.
How people make it out of difficult situations. So I say that's how it was like a stepping stone. Amongst of very hindrance, obstacles, and some of these videos, these thoughts, they help to motivate me.
Documentaries on how China develops, you see that there are no limitations anywhere. They give you their 10 years plans and they achieve it. And then you talk about detectives and how they are working on their criminal law, the DNA, and how they do investigate crimes, maybe so easy and whatnot. So it shows them responsibility. Yeah, thank you.
Also, any of the software engineering courses, but I'm talking about after undergraduate. And for those who are involved, probably they will go and do their masters as maybe here in Nigeria or outside Nigeria. However, when they go, they're given a topic and they're supervised. And they go and, quote and unquote, it's like subscribing to different journals and different articles. You read them and eventually you develop it and you present back a thesis. It's just that it's under a controlled environment called supervision. Now, the question now comes is, if we do that for 2 years by ourselves, we will develop ourselves tremendously. Indeed, apart from Pastor Kunde's video, I think that I am subscribed to all the newsletters that have been mentioned, including Steve Harvey. But it means that you really need to be very time conscious. You need to be very, very time conscious, and you realize that you cannot spend too much time or waste too much time. So sometimes you download to watch in a bus. If in a bus you cannot find network, or in a plane, or you are waiting for a program like this which perhaps was a bit delayed, you have to use that time, or you are eating. You can also have fun with people, but if you don't have anybody around you, there's a possibility that you will use that 30 minutes or 40 minutes of eating. Some of us are only eating in 2 hours, so you can imagine what we can do with 2 hours of eating alone. If you are with people, as a person, I prefer to deal with people and talk with people. I'm just saying in situations where you are not with anybody, instead of playing that game and calm down and win a level 15. Games are good, by the way. I'm just saying that it's an alternative to developing yourself, to acquiring more skills. In 2020, with the COVID, we've been trying to do something that we've been using in our work, which is to introduce virtual hearing. And like I said, many of these deals that we've landed have been done virtually. really, in most of them, at least in some of the very delicate ones, I've not set eyes on the client for 1 minute. They were perhaps referrals, and eventually we now met that client physically. In some cases, we not even met those clients at all. But in this case, he called on Friday because on Thursday I heard someone was kidnapped in the pit. I heard it from there. Therefore, the judges didn't go to court. And as a consequence, he became very interested in making sure that virtual hearing takes root in the courts, especially for those judges that sit out in the outskirts of Enugu, Soka, Obra, basically the outskirts of Enugu. And then I had to go with someone in the IT department of our office to introduce that virtual hearing, or to give him the things that we need to get or to buy and install in order to get it running, in the High Court. And I say this because of the patience that we're talking about, and also the skill set. And these are the things. We have done cases in the ECOWAS court. We've done many of the transactions. Cases that we've done, one of the cases that we did, and the lawyers should understand, is that a lawyer was in Abuja. We were here in Enugu. Abdul Muhammad SAM was in Abuja. In fact, he was not in Abuja. He went from Abuja to Kaduna and dialed in from there. While here, we were in Enugu, and the judge was in Sokoto sitting, and his registrar was in the Federal High Court in Enugu. And you can imagine how technology has synchronized everybody who has come together for that purpose. But it's important that we keep on developing ourselves, and the best way to do that is, again, it's through mentorship. We have to come down again to the reality. It's true that even culturally we define mentorship. Some people find it easy to go to someone to speak with them, especially when it's fun. When you go and you laugh and you leave. But immediately some demands are placed in order that you grow yourself, acquire virtue year after year, up an inclined plane. The person disappears. It disappears because what he's looking at is a finished product. Whether you want your own skill set or whether you want to adopt the life of someone else. So it could be his mother that makes the appointment. It could be his husband that grants the appointment. It could be his family friend. It could be that he's the henchman of the organization that grants the appointment. It could be anything, but we must make sure that we can deliver as that person is delivering if we want to be like that or like him. But everybody has something that is put on the table. Therefore, if you want your own to be an academic or intellectual qualification, a skill-based qualification, you must acquire the skill. And that is where we are going to end this interaction. Thank you very much.
That in a session like this, there's a whole lot that has been said, and a whole lot of this knowledge has been passed across. And at some point, you might be having this confusion and have some questions you might want to ask. And with his permission, he has given his permission that if you have a question, that you should kindly indicate so that he can take them quickly. So I will take the first 5 persons that are raising their hands.
My name is Henry, and earlier on when we did our little introduction, I mentioned that I am an entrepreneur. So, and seeing that term or that word, corporate law, actually drew my attention. I said I would like to, know more about it. I think it would be good if I could understand some little aspects as an entrepreneur that I should know about corporate law, in terms of running your business and many of that. So thank you.
At the moment, there has been the new Company and Allied Matters Act 2020, and it has been signed into law. And there are some highlights, some modifications to the previous canon. And part of that is the ease of registration of business in order to run business. The idea is to facilitate small and medium-scale enterprise thriving, right? And aside, I probably will try to engage with the director of the small and medium-scale enterprise to see how we can offer such services perhaps at no cost or minimum cost, with those who engage in this program. In the first place, in order to register a business, you need one director. That is a business name. Before now, in order to register a company for the purpose of engaging in any business, what you need are 2 directors. Right now, even in a company limited by liability, you can register with only 1 director. It's one of the introduction to the Company and Allied Matters Act, which Nancy can tell you very, very well. But the real ease of business is also in asking yourself, what is the purpose of this business? What do I want to do with it? What do I want to grow the business into? You realize that part of the deficiency, I must say, in our business structure is the fact that we want to grow a one-man business. That does not allow us time for family. That does not allow us time for exchange of ideas. That does not allow us time to grow the business to an international standard. Hence, when you go to main market or Obra, where they sell what's here now, you see okay and so. In fact, however, in a business that is limited by liability, the incorporation process must be finished by a lawyer. The initial incorporation process can be done by a layman, it does not matter, you can. But then you have to submit the memo and articles, which is distinguished into the powers of the company and the powers of the directors of the company. So that is the memo, that's what lawyers. So at the end of the day, in this case, the memo is part of the document that is used for the registration. And since the memo can only be signed by a lawyer accredited to work with CAC, as you can see, they've now also introduced another innovation that the lawyer must be accredited to work with Corporate Affairs Commission. In that sense, in a business, in a company limited by liability, there is need to finish it by a lawyer. It's a crazy job for lawyers too. However, in this case, it is limited by the number of shares that you have and the powers of the company. So if you have a business, it is better always to register a limited liability company, even though it's slightly more expensive. It's always better to have a limited liability company.
However, I want to contribute. Mine is not a question. I want to contribute to the topic of the day, exploring opportunities and building a sustainable career in corporate law. I would want to categorize myself as partly a corporate lawyer, having done corporate law practice for a while myself, having also done litigation. I feel one cannot truly understand the opportunities in corporate law if you have not gone where corporate law practice is really being practiced. And one of the places in Nigeria is Lagos. I'm privileged to have practiced in both jurisdictions. So Lagos being one of them, and the little experience I had there stuck with me. I would implore law students here, because I started my practice, my experience as students. I intend with some of the big firms here about Amuka, Olibodi, and Power, and Ikuda. So there are other students who are out here who are intending with some of those big top law firms in Lagos.
Master, the organizers of this program help all that in the long run. We can really have internship. Somebody can go into a platform and get the skills needed to be a success in any area of corporate.
How you can intern, how you can be held to do internship. So in a class like this, you can't really help someone specialize except if you break a breakout session, right? Where you probably put people into teams of 2 and 3, and maybe you visit each of those teams and talk to them very personally. Well, not personally, but at least you talk to them in teams of 2 and 3. So what we can do is that through the Enugu State small and medium-scale enterprise, we can always meet them and we can continue this internship process. We can continue this engagement process in some form of a collaboration. We can also have some other ones where we can adopt a different structure of training that we engage. We have a conversation like this, we finish it in an hour, and we try to break down the groups into groups of 3, 4, 5, and perhaps have something that can come out of it.
You can apply for it to train your programming or product design. We have a batch currently ongoing now. We've trained over 600, we want to get to 1,000. So I think it's something you can jump into.
Thank you for today. Thank you for everything you've done today.
My name is Arinze Chilofia. I'm the Special Advisor on SME Development and also the DJ of the Enugu SME Center. Today was another series of the ESAM Plus program, the Enugu Skills Acquisition Masterclass. Today we explored the employment opportunities and career opportunities within the corporate law. As you know, Enugu State has a law school here, one of 3 in the state. And it's important that we gear the next generation of lawyers towards how the legal business is moving, especially within corporate law. Corporate law is a very expansive area and we want our youth to be very much inclined towards this direction. We also want to thank Obra Legal, our partners in this program. We look forward to doing more programs under the Skill Acquisition Masterclass. I want to thank everyone. I want to thank the Governor, Right Honorable Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi.
Today has been a very memorable day, super incisive. The people who have engaged in this seminar has been wonderful, and also the feedback has been incredible and very positive. I would like to use that opportunity to thank the Enugu State government for this innovative idea. I must say that this is the type of package or engagement that we get places that we may consider more progressive in these ideas, like Lagos. I know that in Lagos, it costs them millions to engage or to plan talent hunt programs such as this. And now we have exact a replica of the same program in Enugu State. I must give a very big shout out to the Governor of Enugu State. I must also thank very exceptionally Arinze Chilofia, who is the Director of the Small and Medium Scale Enterprise, also heralding this project. And I must say that the participants of this project have trained me. I have come to engage and train them, but exactly the opposite has happened. They have also helped me grow. And I must say that programs such as this should continue.
As someone who is looking to go into corporate law, it was everything and more than I hoped, because he did not just teach about corporate law, he taught about being a person who is productive and being a person who has mastered his or her skill.
That are in corporate law. Well, as an entrepreneur, I learned a lot of things, of course. Things that relates to business, how to manage business, the legalities that has to do with business. Definitely, this has given me hopes in my businesses that, of course, working with a lawyer that knows about corporate law, I am fully covered.
It wasn't just in the angle of corporate law. We actually went further and also getting ideas in technology as well, and going deeper into other angles that are beneficial to both youths and adults alike. I won't want to talk much about the program, but I'll just give you a summary that it was actually very nice and very, very intellectual and interactive as well.
All the anchors were top-notch and exposed various opportunities and emerging trends in corporate law in Nigeria currently. I also contributed to the program where I encouraged students to have a global mindset when it comes to corporate law. This event would not have been possible if not for the Enugu Small and Medium Enterprises, which was powered by the Enugu State government under the leadership of Right Honorable Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi. We want to thank the government and all the organizers of this program, including Obra Legal, and want to say that tomorrow is here.